This image alone reset ties between India and China. After a history of border clashes and mistrust, there was hope that two powers could coexist. But a new Washington Post investigation claims the calm might be deceptive. Is India paying the cost of changing geopolitics? I'm Ananya Datta. Let's get started. Back in 2020, when we heard about the India-China border clash, our memory served us well with the 1962 war and the 2017 Doklam standoff. Here in New Delhi, people started boycotting Chinese products and burnt effigies of President Xi Jinping. But what raised eyebrows is that there was not a single shot fired. Soldiers fought with stones and spiked sticks along the contested border. One doesn't usually imagine the militaries holding tools of a street fight, but that's what many sitting far away don't understand about the India-China border. At heights above 14,000 feet, soldiers are not only fighting the enemy but also fighting for every breath. The air is so thin that even simple movement feels like sprinting a marathon. Temperatures often drop below minus 30 degrees and frostbite can set in within minutes. Both India and China have had an agreement not to use firearms within 2 kilometers of the line of actual control. So they used what they had: stones, iron rods, and nail-studded sticks to fight on a narrow ridge surrounded by icy rivers and steep cliffs. Why are we telling you about this today, when India and China have risen above their differences, shook hands publicly, and resumed trade? Because a month after a bilateral meeting that set the ball rolling, the Washington Post's reporting has revealed that the new agreed-upon buffer zone between both sides favor China. In practice, Indian forces are now restricted from patrolling in areas they once routinely did. The media also spoke to an official in Chushul who said, and I'm quoting, "Around 450 square kilometers of land was converted into a buffer in my constituency alone. This land belonged to India, but now our soldiers cannot set foot there." The report quotes a retired lieutenant general who has overseen these parts of the border. Now, the Hindustan Times cannot independently verify this report, but the general's warning about shifting boundary lines is in line with former military officials, ambassadors, as well as sitting members of parliament, like the leader of the opposition.
It's a known fact that China is sitting on 4,000 square kilometers of our territory. हम नॉर्मलसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं, मगर नॉर्मलसी से पहले स्टेटस को होना चाहिए. हमारी जमीन हमें वापस मिलनी चाहिए. We should get our land back.
Experts say the timing is extremely tricky for the Indian government. It is trying to mend ties with Beijing, clearly, and diplomatically it's going quite well for both sides. In July, India resumed issuing tourist visas to Chinese nationals after a 5-year freeze. In August, China lifted curbs on the sale of fertilizers, rare earth magnets, something at the time was suspended for the global markets. Direct flights have resumed, and a pilgrimage to Tibet has been reopened. But at the same time, India is also in the middle of a diplomatic feud with the United States, something that is casting its shadow. President Donald Trump's assertion to abandon Russian oil imports is practically not possible. It's almost like Washington doesn't understand New Delhi's foreign policy. In fact, we did a story on this. You can check it out by clicking on the box on the right top corner. The late August visit by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to China, and then the subsequent bonhomie we saw between him, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and Russian President Vladimir Putin was meant to send a message to Washington. Experts are still optimistic that the US and India will sign a trade deal sooner or later, but the back and forth has been a reminder for New Delhi how little it should trust Washington.
I think India was getting closer to the United States over the last 20 years. And it's very disappointed. I'm not talking about leadership. I'm talking about people who, get hit with this. I mean, to rub salt in the wound. At the same time, Pakistan has a tariff rate of 19%. India has 50%. where is the friendship between Modi and Trump that was extolled? And that it's a slap in the face for Modi because the Indian opposition is asking him, where's your friendship?
Now add to it the logistics of the Indo-China border, what we were talking about earlier. The terrain doesn't allow regular battlefield rules to apply. It was difficult to define a border more than a half a century ago, and that's still the case. And access to it is either denied or complex due to national security reasons. Chinese officials have urged India not to let the boundary question, quote-unquote, define the relationship. But it's not that easy for New Delhi.
We have always maintained that if the border is stable, predictable, free of incidents, then there is a natural improvement in the rest of the relationship. So the border has been stable for some time now. And as the disengagement was completed, naturally it was logical that there would be an improvement in other areas. So I don't want you to overdraw, it's not like there's some great U-turn and now everything is great. I don't want you to go the other way around also, that the relationship is only full of problems and everything in it is negative. I think there is a sort of a ground somewhere in between.
In fact, less than 24 hours ago, the Indian forces inaugurated a new airbase near the frontier with China. The Neoma airbase is among the world's highest and is located just 35 kilometers from the line of actual control. The new runway is 2.7 kilometers long, has new hangars, an ATC building, crash bay and accommodation. It enables large transport aircraft and combat jets to operate from either direction. So here's where India stands between two old lessons in foreign policy. This year has taught New Delhi not to trust Washington. The friendship almost changes with the election cycle. But for 63 long years, India has also known something deeper, that Beijing's handshake always comes with a hidden clause. At 14,000 feet above sea level, trust doesn't survive long. Oxygen barely does. I'm Ananya Datta. You've been watching Grey Zone.